All right, this is it. Brian Wilton, live and in concert. Here we go. And a special bonus edition for the members of my Patreon. If you haven't joined it, I highly recommend you do. There's some world-class, deep mythological thought that you can find nowhere else. At any rate, it's at Noble Heathen at Patreon. Patreon, not Noble Heathen. What's the name of the damn thing? Let me give you a honest answer. Patreon.com, Noble Heathen. There you go. Patreon.com, Noble Heathen. That's what it's all about. Now, I was going to do this big deal about this farce that happened on the U.S. Capitol today, where the Capitol Police were escorting Antifa members through Congress as if it was a terrible, terrible thing. I've been in that building. You don't just run in there unless they let you run in there. I promise you that much. Especially not a bunch of dipshits like I saw on TV. But be that as it may, yeah, they fucking stole an election from us. They literally stole, hijacked. We've been robbed. I am having a blessed start of my day. And we're fucked. Yeah, we have a fraud coming in the office as president. And even our own Justice Department isn't smart enough to figure out what everybody else seems to know. But I had another thing come to my mind, so I figured I'd talk about that. Where do you find a good man at? Because I look around at some of these dudes and some of these people that are dating and single and all this stuff, looking for a good man, and I'm like, I'm really hard pressed to point. Well, Shay, he's a pretty good dude. But that's the short list right there, I promise you. Where do you find a good man? Where do you find a man that's gone through the trials and tribulations of separating himself from his mama's teat to become a man without becoming an emotional midget that's insulated himself with this red pill horseshit? Where do you find a man? How would you promote yourself as a man? I mean, I think we got to get down to that, don't y'all? At some point, we got to sit there and ask, okay, where am I going to find a man at? Oh, man, Alex is awesome. That's what I want to know. Because here's the deal. Do you know what a woman's rite of passage is? And for most of her life, what she's got to do? I'll tell you. At a certain age, she's going to begin menstruation. She's going to go to a little room, and the thoughts are going to come to her with all the wisdom of mothers, or maybe not the wisdom of mothers, which is an even worse scenario, and she becomes a woman. Can have a child. Usually, in ancient times, she would end up pregnant with a husband and all, blah, yada, yada, yada. Do you know what her great task is? You see, a man's great task, he's got to go slay a dragon, like Jim pointed out, and he's got to have the balls to kill it. A woman's great task is to endure. Think about that when you want to start talking about what it means to be a man. The great task of a woman's life is to endure. It is to give up that thing she loves the most when her children come of age. And our job as men is to create an environment where that might be tolerable. It takes a lot of forms. I always like to use the romantic phrase, to create an environment where the beauty of who she is might be expressed freely without fear of recrimination, something that a man can't control. That takes a lot of confidence. That takes a lot of confidence in a man. Even if every day of the week you know you're going to come home and she's going to have found somebody new and run off and left. Do you still have what it takes to be that man you need to be in this moment? See, because I see a great deal of effort being put into trying to understand and rationalize the actions of a woman so that one might emotionally insulate themselves from said actions. It takes a lot of balls to be a man. It takes a lot of balls to get up and go to work, take care of your kids, bring home money, pay the bills, take care of everything, and set the standard with your spirituality and find some kind of peace of the moment and handle all these things. And it takes a lot to be a woman too. Where are we going to begin to decipher which is more important. Because there's really and truly a war on boys in our public school systems. They are emasculated, they are given drugs, they are held down, they are told not to be rambunctious. In an institution run primarily by women, little boys are wilder than shit. And so they do their best to keep them down. We live in a pretty fucked up world, don't we? And all of a sudden, if you look around, even a cursory glance across Instagram, Facebook, what have you, you see a literal billion-dollar business of men telling other men how to be men. Most of the things you hear about women is body positivity or body dysmorphia or letting her be this or letting her be that or sexual freedom or whatever kind of horse shit. The removing the responsibility of having to endure the role of a wife and a mother and a lover and grandmother and whatever it takes to avoid that responsibility of having to endure what it takes to be a woman, and we're told we got to accept it. We have a lot of work to do. You can't buy a pamphlet that's going to tell you how to do it. We're going to have to get in there with tooth and nail and trial and error and figure out how to stand up and be men again. There you go. We're going to have to get in there and deal with a little heartache. We're going to have to deal with a little bit of disappointment. We're going to have to deal with the letdowns of the modern institutions of dating and whatever the fuck that entails. And we're going to have to hurt so we can stand up. Because we have a real task in front of us. That effortless idea of being an alpha male that came with the man that wore these chaps, my great-grandfather, a Texas cowboy, a real one, it was effortless for him to be an alpha male. You didn't have to write he didn't have to watch no YouTube video. It was effortless. It was being a man. Him and Granny stayed married their entire lives and died together. Good people. Strong people. And all of a sudden, we're so fucking comfortable, we can't seem to figure out heads or tails of what it means to even try to love somebody else. We're paying people to tell us how to be alpha males. Who the fuck told them? Was somebody like that? If it wasn't, I think they're full of shit. There are no shortcuts, people. There's just no shortcuts to becoming men. And there's no shortcuts to enduring the role of a woman in this world. But in all of that pain, all of that struggle, all of that celebration of victory that comes along in life, the birth of a child, the graduation of a child, the love of a child, the love of a partner, those little celebrations in each and every moment make every bit of the failures that we go through to become that worth it. And I decry any effort that seeks to circumvent that struggle of life. Because it is crucial to everything we're trying to figure out right now. We have all these examples of all these ancient mythologies. And I don't care if you're Hellenistic or Ossetru or Slavic or Kemet or Egyptian or whatever. There's a world there of stories that tell us about loving. Thank you for that, man. I appreciate it, Peyton. About learning to love someone and the happily ever after that comes with it. Every one of them has a painful struggle in it. Every one of them means taking a look at that part of myself that I like to hide away when I didn't quite measure up to the standard because I've got this perception of myself in my head about how great I really am. And there's this little failure over here that I don't really want to look at that. Well, we need to look squarely at that kind of shit and get a real, honest, true perception of who we are. Man, I would love to sit around and talk about how great I am. You know what I am? I am an average Joe. I am 5'10", 225 pounds of solid. I work a job. I write a few books. I make some videos. I love my kids. I love my girlfriend. I do the best I can with what I got. An average man. Do you know, and people see that effort that I put out. Imagine if all of us began to appreciate our roles as good men. As good men. And stood up and tried to be something better. Even this stupid ass cut on the end of my nose. I mean, if I thought I was that important, I wouldn't go live with the damn thing. Yeah, I'll tell you. I tried to blow a snot rocket. My nose was wet, and my fingernail cut my nose, and the damn thing came out, and it was big enough to stand up and sash you. I mean, it was one hell of a moment. Fuck, knock a rag right off a Swiffer. The real story is too stupid to even talk about. See, I guess that's the real deal. We got to be able to laugh at ourselves. There ain't a damn thing so important about me that I can't make fun of myself. You know, and that's where we start talking about good men. Does he have a sense of humor? Can he laugh at himself? Is everything so serious that it's all the end of the world? Or if you don't know, you ain't as important? These are just the thoughts that kind of run through my mind on the middle of the week. You know, I work in a factory. I watch these people walk around all day long, and I see the faces that every one of them wears. I see the faces they want to project, they want to present, they want to try to appear competent, they want to try to appear important, they want to not, they want to not be regular. And I'm saying, maybe it's time we embrace that. Maybe it's time we embrace just being regular guys. Because that's where we can get started moving up. If I'm sitting here talking about being the baddest, top-selling heathen author in the world right off the bat, where's there to go from there? What's there to learn from my interactions with other individuals? Where's the ability to engage in a legitimate discourse with individuals that have an opposing viewpoint? I can't go anywhere with that. If I'm starting at the top, I can't do anything with that. I can't grow. And at the end of the day, at 50 years old, with all of the mistakes I've made, when I look at it now, I've got to figure, I take the moment and I find myself in a situation I don't like. I have a practice now where I sit there and I say, okay, what am I supposed to be learning here? It may not come to me right away. It may not show up immediately. And it might be something in here. I heard Joseph Campbell say the other day, he's like, Odin sacrificed that eye at the well. And ever after, he had one eye looking out and one eye looking in. And it really struck me that maybe that's the perception I need to be trying to cultivate with myself to become something more. As a grandfather, I have grandchildren that are going to come to me for wisdom. I can't give them the high-minded answers. I got to be able to relate to them and talk to them and guide them and help them become men and women that carry my name. And we'll have other men and women that carry my last name. Everything we do means so much more than we think it does. If we can start by trying to pay attention to the people that we love the most and actually hear what they're saying and see them and listen, it means a lot. And it'll change everything about your world. It just really will. Even my daughter, she gets upset. She gets bent out of shape. She's 9 years old. There's things going on she's not sure about. She's uncertain. I see you. I hear you. What's going on, honey? It changes everything if we can do that with the people around us. But most importantly, can we do it with ourselves? Because we have a real big role. We got big shoes to fill. We're either reinventing the wheel or we're getting ready to take a big bite of a shit sandwich. We're going to have to fight it out. Choice is really up to you. If I'm going to have to stand there and fight it out, I need to make sure I'm on solid, level ground. I can't do that if my mind is telling me how great I am because I've made a smart-ass comment on social media. So, those are my thoughts today on growth. This is where we're at. The world's changing faster than we want it to, and our gods have thrown us a lifeline. it would behoove us all to stop, take one moment and say, okay, what am I supposed to be learning here? They damn sure do. There's weak men creating hard times right now. It's time for us to become strong. That's exactly fucking right. Even if I can bench press 350 fucking pounds, it don't mean nothing if I can't throw a punch. I mean, we got to figure out what we got to do with things. So, having said all that, I'll tell you a joke. Old man and old woman sitting on the front porch, rocking chair of the evening, sun going down. Presently, the old woman reached over, knocked the shit out of that old man, knocked him clean out of the chair. He said, what the hell was that for? She said, that's for being such a lousy lay all of our marriage. He said, oh, all right, I get it. I did it. All right. He gets there and they're rocking, and presently thought strikes him. He reaches out, just backhands her, almost knocks her into a coma. She's like, why'd you do that? That's for knowing the difference. So if we can apply knowing the difference within ourselves, we might get a long way. Thank you guys for joining me.